All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to S5U. I'm Kate Drake, and I'll be your host today. We're going to be talking about election season on social media. And obviously, we're in the thick of it right now as far as elections go. And some good tips to keep in mind as we go forward. Can be kind of a fraught time as far as connecting with your audience goes. And so we're going to talk about some strategies to make sure that you don't drive away half of your audience in a really divisive election. So quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. First off, a word of caution. We're going to talk about how to endorse a candidate if you really feel like you need to, how to play it down the center. We're going to talk about some inspiration from the 2012 election and some things that businesses can take away from that, and how to do what we call Newsjack the election for yourself. So let's start off, again, a word of caution. If you post something like this, you're probably going to lose about half of your audience, right? Trump for president. This will lose you the other half, right? It's an extremely divided election, and really it has been for the last several cycles that we've been through. I don't know how many of you know this about me and Jeremiah, my boss who works here at Social 5, but we used to be newspaper reporters, and we covered mostly local government, but we did a lot of election coverage and things like that. So we've been watching this, and this is always fascinating for us because we're used to working election nights and following candidates around and asking them how they feel after they lose and things like that. So good times for all. But it's really hard in a divisive election to make sure that as a business that you're playing it down the middle, and as a reporter too, you want to make sure that you're giving equal coverage to both sides. So one of the things you really need to be careful of doing while you're going through an election like this is to make sure you're not doing this by accident. I use the example here of your personal trainer may use the hashtag feel the burn from doing squats or something, and they're not really meaning to endorse Bernie Sanders, but if you use the wrong hashtag, you could end up losing clients. I haven't seen this so much. I haven't seen a lot of inadvertent Trump hashtags going around, but I have seen quite a few people who I don't necessarily think are Hillary supporters using Hillary hashtags, like hashtag I'm with her or hashtag stronger together. Maybe they're talking about something completely different and they use that hashtag and they show up in the newsfeed. And obviously if you're talking about something completely different, your audience is probably going to figure out that that's not meant to be an endorsement of that candidate or whatever. But it is something to really look out for, to make sure that as you're using your hashtags, that you're checking to make sure that they don't go with a candidate or whatnot. Now, if you really feel like you need to endorse a candidate or a policy, here are some rules to remember. Now, I would say that this is, your business is probably not necessarily going to feel like it needs to endorse a presidential candidate, but all of this information goes for local elections too. And a lot of local organizations feel a much stronger tie to some of these elections. Now, if you're, like we have a couple of clients who are different associations for, construction or insurance agents or whatever it may be. If your association wants to lobby on a policy or a candidate that you feel like is important, they may want to take a stance at something like that. If someone's going to be making a big change to highway construction spending and you're an association of contractors and you don't agree with that, you may want to make an endorsement or something along those lines. So that's kind of where this comes in. And all of these rules that we're talking about are not necessarily they're taking inspiration from presidential politics, but they really can play out on any local level, school board, state representative, whatever it may be, okay? So one thing you want to make sure you do is you stay positive. You want to talk about why your candidate is awesome instead of putting down the opposition. This is really something that can be hard to do sometimes because you may disagree with the other person, right? But you really want to stay positive and focus on why your candidate or the policy that you're endorsing is the best option, and not focus on bashing the other person. You want to talk about why this is important to your business. You don't want to come out and make an endorsement of a candidate or something when it doesn't really have anything to do with you. You want to show as part of your endorsement why it's tied to you. You know, if it is someone for school board or something, maybe you have an education focus in your business, or you feel like that's important in some way. Again, if it's, you know, something on your city council that's going to make a big difference for your business, explain why that's important or why that policy matters. So really tie it in there and explain why it matters to you as a business, not just as an individual voter, okay? And then you want to be ready to defend your position in a polite and professional manner. Again, it's that whole idea of staying positive. You know, there's going to be people from the other side of the issue who come on and bash your business or want to engage in down and dirty trolling, essentially. And you want to rise above that. You want to stay professional, stick to your talking points of why you like your candidate or your policy instead of engaging in bashing. And again, be prepared to lose at least a few likes or followers, depending on what it is that you endorse. There's going to be people who disagree with you, no matter how obvious your, your policy may be or whatever. Okay, so it may seem like it's the most obvious thing in the world, and everyone should get behind it. But there's going to be someone out there who's a naysayer who doesn't agree with it. So, if you do feel like that's really important to your business, weigh those options and see if it really is worth it. So one thing that you can do, and that we really recommend, is that you play the center in this election. You can still get in on that conversation without endorsing anyone, and you can really, express that you're grateful for the right to vote and that you really support that right. Something you can do is talk about, do a generic get out the vote post on your social channels. Say, hey, happy election day. We hope you'll all get out and express your right. You can do a special deal for anyone who comes into your store wearing an I voted sticker or something on election day, right? Something fun like that. That way, no matter how they voted or who they're getting out to support, you're still telling people that it's important and really, getting out there. Something else you can do is share something that makes fun of all the candidates. That's something that's kind of popular this time of elections, where we see a lot of posts. My aunt shared one yesterday that I thought was kind of funny. That was something about, I think America needs to just take a break and be single for a while, and we need to focus on ourselves. And it was all relating the election to a breakup with your significant other or whatever, right? And it was, you don't need to get into a rebound relationship. You just need to take some time for yourself. And it was kind of funny, and it again kind of made fun of everybody. She and I are hugely different on different ends of the political spectrum, and it was something that we could both laugh about. The other thing you can do is you can hop on a pop culture trend with a post that's related to a current event or a trending hashtag or something. Remember, it's time to watch those hashtags. You got to be careful. But if the hashtag like rock the vote is going on or something, you can put something out there and say, hey, get out there. We want to support your right to vote. So again, trying to play that center, and again, some people say, well, I should be standing up for what I think or whatever. You can still do that, but again, you've got to be prepared to lose followers. So by playing the center, you're still getting out there and telling people that voting is important and that this election means something to you, but by not endorsing a specific candidate. So let's look at a blast from the past here and get some marketing inspiration from past campaigns. Social media had a huge impact on the 2012 election. A lot of savvy marketers really got in on the buzz, and they really created election-based campaigns that really helped spark some conversation that also got people to buy their products, which is obviously what you're trying to do as a business, right? So here's some inspiration of some of the things that they've done. Pizza Hut launched this campaign called The Pizza Party, and they ran campaign-style ads for it's called a big dinner box, and they asked people to support their candidate. They also offered things like unlimited pizza for a year to anyone who would ask. The candidates, I don't know if you remember back in 2012, they had a bunch of these town hall style debates, and Pizza Hut offered unlimited pizza for a year to anyone who would ask the candidates pepperoni or sausage during a town hall style debate. Now, I don't think anybody actually did this, not that I saw in any of the debates anyway, But gosh, it sure got people to be interested in the debates and wonder if someone was actually going to ask that, right? I got a similar thing the other day in the mail that I thought was really clever. And for me, to notice something in the mail is like a big deal, but it was from a local Mexican restaurant who's just introduced a new chili pork dish. So it's like a chili verde pork thing. And this particular restaurant is really known for their sweet barbacoa pork. And this was an election-style campaign mailer talking about the horrors of green chili pork and how terrible it was, and that Barbara Coa wanted your vote for her kind of pork instead. And it was just really clever and really well done and really funny at this time of year. So again, you know, you can do all kinds of funny things with these elections and starting a party of your own or whatever it may be. 7-Eleven always does really well with this one. They do this election campaign where they ask voters to choose the next president based on the color of their coffee cup. So you, back in 2012, you bought a blue cup for Obama or a red cup for Mitt Romney. And people actually mentioned that they were buying extra coffee just to help their candidate get a boost. Here in Utah, where Social 5 is based, we have a really large LDS population, and people in the LDS church don't drink coffee. But Mitt Romney was still leading in the coffee cups. People went out and bought a lot of hot chocolate in Mitt Romney coffee cups and stuff like that, just to keep their candidate up on top, because for some reason, things like this matter to people. They don't want to see their team fall behind. I've seen things similarly. We have a big rivalry football game coming up this week here in Salt Lake between BYU and University of Utah. And I've seen several businesses have out tip jars, one for BYU and one for Utah, as people try and it's to see who's the better tippers, right? And people will donate that to that because they don't want their team to look bad, right? So kind of a fun idea there, and something that you may be able to play off in your business with something else. Another fun thing that JetBlue did, we always hear people say, you know, I'm going to move to Canada if my candidate doesn't win, if the other party takes the election, which I would highly recommend doing. I lived in Canada for a few years. It's lovely. You don't need an election as an excuse to move there. It's wonderful. But if, you know, this is a common thing that you hear people say is, you know, if Trump wins, I'm moving to Canada. If Hillary wins, I'm moving to Canada. Right? It's split down the middle either way. So JetBlue did a really funny thing with this, where they offered what's called election protection contest, and they gave away airfare to 1,600 travelers. And you visited their website and chose a candidate and where you would go to if their party lost. And it had destinations beyond Canada. I actually don't think Canada was even included, but it was things like, it was, you know, Mexico and Jamaica and San Diego, California, or whatever, you know. So some fun places that you could go to escape from the election or whatever, depending on who won. So, and they offered it to whichever party won these trips. So I guess you got some consolation. If your candidate lost, you at least got a fun vacation out of it. This is a really fun one. You've heard we talk about right wing and left wing when it comes to politics a lot, right? Boston Market in 2012 took it a step further by doing these new dinners that they introduced. They pitted chicken against turkey and asked diners to vote for their favorite. And so even more clever on this, they used the promo to launch these new dishes that featured chicken and turkey. So it was a new meal package that they introduced with these different things. And then they used it as market research to decide which one would stay on the menu. So, you know, they tried to see who bought more of what. And, you know, again, it might be a little hard to tell if you know, if people who really love turkey but are hardcore Democrats still bought chicken dinners. I'm not really sure. But anyway, it was just a fun play on the right and left wing that we hear, and really was a successful promotion for them. So let's talk a little bit about what we call newsjacking the election. And basically what this means is that it offers a chance to be a part of the current conversation by newsjacking something, right? You're inserting yourself into the conversation and getting stuff going and talking about it. So if you're going to be doing this, what you want to make sure you're doing, there's a few things. First of all, you want to make sure that you plan it out. You want to give yourself enough time to put together an effective campaign. Now, obviously, it's early September. The election's just about 2 months away, so we don't have a ton of time left. But there's still time to put together some posts or things like that if you'd want to, and to throw together something fun for your business. There's definitely still some time, but you don't want it to be a knee-jerk reaction. You want to have it be thoughtful and planned out, so that again, you're taking into account all these different hashtags that are going on, and kind of just staying aware of the issues, so that you can make sure that you're really staying on the message that you want to convey. You want to watch your trending topics on Twitter, on Facebook, and things like that. Make sure that you're staying up to date on that. And you want to be able to move quickly and be sensitive. You don't want to post something insensitive on the day that something big happens and it blows up in a candidate's face or something, right? So, watch out for that. If you need to pull a post, whatever it may be, just be ready to, once you put something out there during an election, you kind of can't just let it sit there. You have to be watching and make sure that you're responding to people who bring up issues or, other things that may happen in the news. You want to find a tie to your business, right? Nobody wants to read about their favorite restaurant just going off about, how they hate a particular candidate or whatever, right? They want to know why it matters to you as a business. We get tons of our, everybody has their relatives and friends on Facebook who are shouting about election stuff that you have to listen to already. You need to make it a reason why they should listen to you on this, instead of just spouting off your opinion, okay? You really want to make it tied to your business and show why it's important. And then again, you want to be prepared to take on any trolls or haters who come on your page in a really calm and professional manner. And that can be really hard, especially, people really believe strongly one way or the other in this election, and there's not a lot of middle ground. And so, if that is a stance that you want to take, you need to be ready to, not yell at people, to be really calm no matter what they say, and take them on in a professional manner. That's going to reflect better on you than it does on them. No matter how people attack you, that you stay calm and don't get riled up, because remember, it's your business, it's not your personal life. All right, with that in mind, I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions you guys may have. Again, you're welcome to contact us anytime at content@social5.com. If you want to put together a post about the election or something like that, we'd be happy to help you. And again, we'll go through a lot of these things with you to recommend, like, hey, let's put together something, just about election day or something along those lines. Maybe we could do some fun facts or something like that. If you do want to make a stronger endorsement from your company, we can do that. I know a couple of our associations, we've done some email newsletters for them that have some pretty strongly worded language one way or the other about the endorsement that they want to make. And we're happy to help you with that. And again, really help you strategize and come up with something that's going to be very professional, very positive, and that really helps get your message across. So, all right, well, it doesn't look like there's any questions. So with that, we'll go ahead and sign off, and we'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for joining us.